The movie opens with Carolyn being startled by her mother, who is spooky, pulling out her tooth with a knife while claiming it's for Emma. Emma herself reading from her most recent horror novel to a crowd. People don't like the ending, but she explains that she wanted to leave Lizzie's story unfinished. Carolyn insists, stating that she thinks her mother mistreated her father. Before she has a chance to continue, Carolyn hands her a skin pouch containing a tooth and demonstrates the strange scars on her chest. She begs her to return to Eldon, where she is from, because she fears for her life. Emma arrives at work the following morning to find a distraught Carolyn. She advises her to keep writing and says Marianne will then pursue her parents. With the aid of her assistant, Camille, Emma makes the decision to return to Eldon to see how her estranged parents are doing. Both girls decide to go see Carolyn's mother first before going to see her parents. As she extends an invitation inside, Mrs. Dodgerin mentions how much she and her daughter enjoy reading Emma's books. As she begins to behave very strangely, introducing herself as Marianne, she encourages her to continue writing, because the more people who read her stories, the happier she is. The girls rush out of the house, while Marianne screams as they witness her acting even creepier. She threatens to visit Emma's parents if she doesn't write, telling Emma that she never goes anywhere without something. Camille is awakened in the middle of the night to use the restroom when someone tries to enter. The burglar alarm then starts to ring, waking up Emma. She rushes downstairs, only to find her parents naked and smiling, heading out into the darkness of the night. As she runs after them in the woods, her dad suddenly appears and shouts for her to run, causing her to faint and hit her head on the floor. As she searched for Emma, Camille went downstairs. The alarm abruptly stops, but the phone instead begins to ring. After receiving notification of the alarm, a man from the security company calls to check on the premises. He convinces her to lock the door, but when he suddenly materializes in the corner of the room and shows himself to be Marianne, Emma steps in to save her. Inspector Ronan welcomes them after they call the police in the morning. Emma, with Camille's assistance, plans to break into Marianne's home to look into the allegations that she drugged her parents. Marianne surprises them once again when they discover a bizarrely closed door with sounds and movement coming from behind it. She then begins repeatedly slicing through her arms before telling Emma that she won't stop unless she keeps writing about Lizzie and Marianne. Marianne warns Emma that if she refuses, she will continue to visit her every night until the girls are free of the hysterical babbling witch. She resolves to follow in the footsteps of her heroine Lizzie and visit the church to obtain holy water and a crucifix in order to conduct an exorcism on Marianne, in an effort to put an end to the witch once and for all. When she gets to the residence, she binds the woman to a chair and prepares to begin the ceremony. She is told by Marianne that if she keeps writing, she will be able to return her father to her as she did with her mother. Then Emma hits her with the metal cross and sprinkles holy water on her head, breaking her neck. She isn't killed, though. After Emma and her father are reunited, she goes back home, only to discover her mother's body inside the house with blood all over it. Suddenly, she hears a maniacal laugh coming from upstairs and sees Marianne with a knife covered in blood. In a fit of rage, she runs upstairs and starts strangling her. Marianne assures her that even if she kills the elderly woman, she will only possess someone else and remain in her place. Emma is informed by Inspector Ronan upon his arrival that Mrs. Dodgerin has asked to talk with her. She allegedly claimed to have changed her name to Marianne and to have left her, but taken her eyes. When Emma arrives at the police station, she is greeted by the elderly woman who is now blind and who informs her that Marianne has been a part of the community for a very long time and is related to Emma. She also gives her a warning and orders her to follow Marianne's wishes. When the inspector and a few police officers arrive at Mrs. Dodgerin's home, they discover her husband bound to a chair and surrounded by the identical skin pouches they had seen earlier, but with some of the skin that had been used to make the markers missing. He discovers a book with unusual writing that resembles the lettering on the victim's scars and on the walls. He shows it to his friend Pat, who informs him that it is written in witchcraft and that one of the symbols depicts the demon king, Belith. Additionally, he says that the only way to control the witch is to know her name. Inspector Ronan reads from the book about Marianne's trial to learn more about her ancestry. She was surrounded by unexplained bad luck as she was growing up. She got married and had children, but one day she went into the woods with them and came back alone. The legend claims that after killing her husband, she married Belith, king of the demons. Before being apprehended and executed, she made a promise to return for their children. Carolyn suggests that they make contact with her spirit using an Ouija board. That night, they decide to do just that in the lighthouse school. As they sit in a circle, Emma starts seeing Marianne creeping behind the door. She suddenly appears next to her and possesses her, warning each of the friends of different misfortunes that will happen to them. Aurora exits, terrified and upset with Emma, since she doesn't think she was possessed. The following day, Emma visits Lucy at school with the intention of accompanying her home to talk to her sister. When Lucy chooses to play hide and seek, she becomes trapped in a chest freezer. Emma runs in and discovers Lucy's frozen body, with her eyes wide open, after spotting a drawing of her in a freezer on the whiteboard in the classroom. Marianne's pact with the devil was burned by a priest who broke into her tomb. The four friends are still in shock over Ronan's passing when Marianne's visage emerges, preventing him from setting the body on fire. His body begins to hover as her spirit emerges from her body at the same time. As they approach the dog, who is now possessed, the party attempts to flee the island and becomes dispersed, just as they had intended. When Marianne the dog blocks Emma from leaving in the automobile, she shoots the dog with a revolver she discovered in the vehicle. CB and Aurora sprinted through the building. They enter a classroom, where they find Lucy's favorite toy communicating with them and making fun of them. In an attempt to fool them, Marianne suddenly manifests as Lucy and tells Aurora that Emma was present on the day she passed away. They are rescued by Emma just as she is ready to take them. Aurora appears to be the next, and the four companions are then reunited. Both guys get frightened and demand that Emma begin writing once more, but she refuses because she thinks they should fight instead. Emma denies any responsibility and tries to explain what happened when Aurora confronts her about her presence during the death of her sister, but all of her friends are turning against her. When they ask Nono if he would rather be taken by the witch or by all of his friends, the witch appears and takes him to the top of the lighthouse, where she informs him that his brother is no longer there and has drowned. This causes Marianne to appear and take Nono away. Emma decides to continue writing her new book the following day, while CB is reunited with his infant son, which happened after the priest visited Emma the previous evening and unsuccessfully attempted to exorcise her. When the priest discloses that he is aware that she is now Marianne, she is able to get a gun and threaten him. She tells the priest the truth during this exchange, but the priest informs her that it's too late because it's now Tuesday, and Marianne has what she wants Emma. He ultimately shoots the priest while still possessed. When Aurora returns to the house, she finds Emma there, with a menacing Marianne standing over her, aiming a revolver at herself. In the meantime, the priest succeeds in crawling to Marianne's tomb. After pouring gasoline down the hole, he is finally able to start a fire inside the tomb, killing Marianne. Emma picks Camille up in the morning and drives her home. She needs to stop her car several times as she drives away because she seems ill. When Camille visits a pharmacy to get a pregnancy test, she initially disputes the results before shockingly discovering that it is positive. The recap ends here. If you enjoyed this recap, please give it a like and subscribe to get more of our recaps.